Most people think millionaires live exciting lives: private jets, luxury cars, expensive watches, massive mansions. But what if I told you the average millionaire's Tuesday is probably more boring than yours? No nightclub, no shopping spree, no crazy vacations every month. In fact, many wealthy people repeat the same routines almost every single day. And strangely enough, that's exactly why they stay rich. Because the truth is, most people are addicted to stimulation, while wealthy people become addicted to stability. And that tiny psychological difference quietly changes their entire financial future. Today, we're going to talk about why millionaires love boring lives, and why the lifestyle most people call boring is often the exact thing that creates real wealth. Let's imagine two people, Jake and Daniel. Jake's life looks exciting. Every weekend he's outside. New restaurants, new gadgets, new clothes, new subscriptions, new upgrades. His social media looks amazing, but behind the scenes, Jake is stressed. His paycheck disappears fast, his credit card balance keeps growing, and every month feels like survival. Now look at Daniel. Daniel's life looks, honestly, kind of boring. He wakes up at the same time every day, drinks coffee at home, uses the same phone for years, wears simple clothes, rarely shows off online. Most people would look at Daniel and think, man, this guy needs to enjoy life. But here's the strange part. Daniel is quietly becoming wealthier every single year. Why? Because wealth is usually built through repetition, not excitement. And that's the first thing most people misunderstand about money. They think wealth comes from massive moments, huge opportunities, big risks, lottery-style success. But in reality, wealth usually comes from boring behaviors repeated for a very long time. Human beings naturally chase stimulation. Our brains love novelty. Excitement rewards instant pleasure. That's why spending money feels good. Every purchase creates a tiny emotional high. A new phone feels exciting. A luxury car feels exciting. A shopping spree feels exciting. And companies know this. That's why modern life constantly pushes you toward consumption. Upgrade your life. Treat yourself. You deserve this. But here's the dangerous part. Most exciting financial decisions create long-term stress, and most boring financial decisions create long-term freedom. That sounds backward, but it's true. Saving money is boring. Budgeting is boring. Investing consistently is boring. Avoiding lifestyle inflation is boring. But these behaviors quietly build power. Think about the gym. Nobody gets fit from one intense workout. Fitness comes from boring consistency. Money works the exact same way. A millionaire's financial life often looks repetitive because repetition creates predictability, and predictability creates wealth. That's why many wealthy people automate their finances. They remove emotional decisions because emotions are expensive. Think about how most people buy things. They buy based on stress, boredom, insecurity, status, impulse, not logic. And modern society makes this even worse. Today, people don't just buy products, they buy identities. A car says, look how successful I am. A luxury watch says, I've made it. An expensive apartment says, I matter. But wealthy people eventually realize something important. Looking rich and becoming rich are completely different games. And most people accidentally choose the first one. There's a psychological concept called hedonic adaptation. It basically means humans quickly get used to new pleasures. That dream car, after a few months, it feels normal. That expensive phone, eventually, it becomes ordinary. That luxury apartment soon becomes your baseline. And then your brain wants more. This creates an endless cycle. More spending, more upgrading, more stimulation, but not more happiness. This is why many high-income people still feel financially trapped, because income alone doesn't create wealth. Behavior does. And wealthy people understand this better than almost anyone. They stop trying to constantly impress the world. Instead, they protect their peace. That's why many millionaires avoid flashy lifestyles, keep small friend circles live below their means, avoid unnecessary chaos, value time more than appearances. To the outside world, their lives can look boring, but internally, their lives often feel calm, and calm is incredibly powerful financially because chaos is expensive. Think about it. When life feels chaotic, people impulse spend stress, buy emotionally, invest, take bad risks, avoid planning, but calm people make better long-term decisions. That's why wealthy people become obsessed with reducing friction. Simple routines, simple finances, simple habits. Not because simplicity looks impressive, but because simplicity creates control, and control creates wealth. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Most people secretly believe wealth should look exciting. That's the trap. Social media has trained us to associate wealth with visible luxury. But visible luxury is often financially dangerous because many people spend money trying to feel successful instead of actually becoming financially free. And freedom is much quieter. Real wealth often looks like no debt, low stress, flexible time, financial stability, peaceful mornings, controlled spending. None of these things look dramatic online, but they completely change your life. A person driving a used car with investments and no debt may actually be wealthier than someone driving a luxury car with massive monthly payments. But society notices the car, not the financial freedom. That's why many people accidentally build lifestyles instead of wealth, and lifestyles are expensive to maintain. Wealth, on the other hand, is often invisible. You can't always see investments, emergency funds, cash flow, ownership, financial discipline, which means the people who look rich aren't always rich, and the people who look ordinary sometimes have the most financial freedom of all. Let's go back to Daniel. Remember him? His life looked repetitive, but let's examine what he's actually doing. Every month, he invests, automatically avoids unnecessary debt, keeps expenses, controlled spends, intentionally focuses on long-term goals. Nothing dramatic happens, but year after year, his financial position quietly improves. That's how wealth usually grows, silently, slowly, almost invisibly. This is why investing feels boring for many people, because real investing is not constant excitement. It's patience, and patience is difficult in a world addicted to stimulation. People want instant results, quick profits, rapid success, but wealth building often rewards people who can tolerate boredom. That's one of the biggest financial advantages you can develop, the ability to stay consistent when nothing exciting is happening, because most people quit during the boring phase. So what should you actually learn from all this? First, stop confusing excitement with progress. A calm financial life is not a failure. In many cases, it's a sign of maturity. Second, pay attention to what your purchases are really trying to solve. Sometimes people buy things because they feel behind, insecure, stressed, unimportant, but external upgrades rarely fix internal problems. Third, focus on systems instead of motivation. Wealthy people don't rely on constant discipline. They build routines, automatic investing, controlled spending, simple habits, because systems reduce emotional mistakes. And finally, understand this. Financial freedom is usually built in private, not on social media, not through showing off, not through constant upgrades, but through small, consistent decisions nobody applauds. At the end of the day, most people spend their lives chasing a lifestyle that looks rich, while wealthy people often build lives that simply feel peaceful. And maybe that's the real secret nobody talks about. Millionaires don't love boring lives because they hate fun. They love boring lives because boring creates stability, and stability creates freedom. The quiet routines, the simple habits, the controlled spending, the repetition. Those boring behaviors quietly buy something far more valuable than luxury. peace of mind. And maybe real wealth isn't about owning more things. Maybe it's about needing fewer things to feel okay.